to wake up. The show is about to start. With lots of stories about poo and a bit of heart. When it comes to Joanne, no, you won't find no faults. But if you mess with the bull, you might get the shows. It's time for Mornin. It's Morning with Bill and Joe. It's time for Mornin. It's gonna be a heck of a show. It's Bill and Joe.
Hello and welcome to Mornin with Bill and Joe. I'm Joe.
I'm not Bill. Actually, no, I am Bill. Because we've got so much to discuss. I almost don't even want to talk about the Chiefs. I'm so fucking bored with them. But I have a new segment for us. And it doesn't involve one of Five Fans' amazing, some might say better than the show itself, graphics. The title of this segment is A Pillow.
Look what you did, Bill. I love that.
Good! Dale did it on the first take. All right, now watch closely, right? This is kind of Broadway adjacent, Joe, so you'll like it.
Okay.
There's a Broadway show called The Six.
It's not called The Six, it's called Six.
There's a Broadway, we'll edit all that out in post.
Great. Yeah.
Joe, there's a Broadway show out called Six.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
Well, actually, I was hoping you would have already been aware of it. It's about the six wives of Henry VIII.
Yes.
All right, now I want you to pay attention to the mug. See
Okay.
that? There's Henry himself.
Yeah.
And then there's all of the wives.
Okay.
Hope I don't stain my pillow.
The hand shaking is really great. For those who are just listening, Bill is pouring coffee into a mug.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the audio. All right.
And I think magic is supposed to be happening.
Not supposed. Let's see.
Oh, okay. So the faceless wives seem to now be getting faces. Yeah, wow, very cool.
It's not doing it as well as it used to. I think the ones that come up are the ones that got divorced, and the ones that are supposed to sort of disappear are the ones that he killed.
Oh.
In this magic coffee cup, but it's not doing what it's supposed to do. Maybe it's because I've had this since 2005, but I never use it. I kind of found it.
Gosh, what a way to start a morning.
Thank you for another edition of...
Look what you did, Bill.
All right.
See, I thought I
it
would
almost
assume...
is better with the audio version rather than the visuals, because
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything really happen here. See, obviously the heat in the coffee is what's supposed to interact with all the magic, and it's just not really happening.
You know, the pillow, I want to read it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Okay. Catherine of Aragon. So you're starting to see their names. This is what it is. You see their names and how they died. So Catherine of Aragon, she was, the marriage was annulled. I believe this is this Jane Eyre?
You don't even know. You should have done your research and figured this out before you showed and
I
told
couldn't
it.
see it until I put the coffee in.
As I was saying, the pillow, I want to read it as in the style of Home Alone. Look what you did, you little squirt, or whatever he says. Look what you did, Bill. And I should have read it like that because you just made this morning that much worse for me. Look what you did, Bill.
Here's the thing. Next time someone comes up to you and says, "Is Bill magic?" you're going to be forced to say yes. And
Is he magic?
Yes. And you know that happens to you at least 3 times a week. Random people come up to you, huge fans of the show, mostly me, and they come up to you. And what do they say, Joe? They say, "Is Bill magic?" And you're going to be forced to say...
Possibly. Yeah, you're right. Whenever people ask me that question on the street, and I do get stopped 2 to 3 times a day, I don't know how to answer. So now I at least have a point of reference.
Well, let me tell you something. This is going to be a regular thing because there's plenty of other magic mugs over there in the old kitchen. So get ready.
Hey, speaking of magic mugs, mugging, Cameo, you received a gift, I would argue, greater than that mug recently.
I think that I will, for once in my life, agree with you. I don't think you've ever met him. He might have come to the show once, just as an audience member in Morning Audience. My buddy Frank Beidler, apropos of nothing, and aren't these the best gifts? Went and got me a cameo of former great Venezuelan White Sox shortstop. I'm sorry. We're bearing the lead that is Jo has a terrible cold, as she always does this time of year.
I'm sick again. Continue.
Yeah. World Series winning manager, and many believe should still be manager to this day. Current pre and post game broadcaster du jour, Ozzie Elizabeth Guillen. May not be his middle name. Check this out.
Hi, Bill. Hope you're doing well. Hey, we have to live the life. It's only one. Take you to be a White Sox fan. Not because you hate Trump, nothing going to be good in the country. Some people like him, some people hate him. I don't blame you hate him. I don't mind you do it. But everything will be okay, buddy. Billy, all my best. Love you, buddy. Keep working. That's all you have to do. Don't worry about nobody else. Just work.
Wow.
You're
Okay, man. I see. If I were you, I would be delighted if, I've never heard of this person before, but that's on me, not on him. But I would be delighted.
Keep talking. I'm 2 seconds. I'm just grabbing something at the bookshelf, but I
Oh,
feel
no.
your vibes.
It's going to be another show and tell, folks.
No, it's cool.
I would be both delighted that I got this, but also it would make me feel even more depressed for the fact that he sent me this video as he is just lounging on a beach, sunning himself, probably just making money as he sits there. And so I don't know that I would feel better, but it is cool to have someone you so admire say your name,
It's
and
awesome.
speak right to you. That is cool.
I don't think he remembered this.
You know what? I think he did remember it, and he's trying to play it cool in front of Magic Bill.
This is better than Magic Mike. Less with the alliteration. That was. I also sent you a picture of Frank himself, handsome fella. We grew up together. He's one of my only other friends that's a White Sox fan, unfortunately. And I, of course, took him to when I threw out the first pitch for both Maxim and Red Eye back in 2009. Of course, because it's me and because Red Eye was on at 3 a.m, it was not the White Sox that came to me to ask if I would do the first pitch, but rather me constantly emailing them saying, what would be a good idea? Celebrity and Magic Bill coming by to do the first pitch.
But see,
and then,
Bill, no one knew that until you told them.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. You are going to have a messy edit, my friend. There's a lot of fixes.
Oh my God. As per usual.
I know. Boy, I was really practicing a lot in the parking lot before that game, and I still overthrew it, but better that than the ground. But yeah, so that was really nice of him. He just knew I was guess. You know what I realized it was? I think I told you last night. I think that was to shut me up because I think I was bitching to him too much, just like on text. You know that, just like news of the day. I try not to do too much woe is me. So it was more just the world overall. But yeah, so that I think it was less to cheer me up and more to shut me up. How about that?
100%.
Yeah. But I loved it. And those great things about those cameos is they're forever. Anytime I'm feeling down, I can just go right on that link and see Ozzie shirtless.
Well, Bill, you should download it like I just did for this show. Then you will have it forever, even if you forget your password to the website.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I have that. And then our Noelle Hancock, who you've certainly met several times, she once got me a Ernie Hudson of the Ghostbusters fame wearing his Ghostbusters suit. She got me one for my birthday. The Cameo thing, I always forget about it when it's because I, like most guys, I'm a horrible gift giver, as you well know. But that's a great idea. I got to start thinking of that when actual events come where I need to get a gift,
Yeah.
Joshua's birthday's coming up. How about that?
I only got one. I think I've only done one. It was for my sister for her bachelorette weekend. It was a Real Housewives themed bachelorette party. And
yes, I remember
me and
that.
the other girls all went in and got Dorinda from New York to do a cameo for my sister. But it cut out at the end. The quality was shit.
Then they gotta do it again. They can't just send
it was already her second attempt. The first one didn't send. I'm like, Cameo, you got to do a better job once you get these celebrities on your platform of teaching them how to do it. Speaking of celebrities, athletes, sports.
Not really, but continue.
I looked at football.
You did? Five Fan's good because we're a very literal show, and God, you are looking the hell out of that football.
Listen, I'm great. I'm great at looking at it and also asking questions about it. My husband got an earful of really great questions from me about the sport.
Cute.
Because I don't often look at football, but when I do, I really do look.
I think you enjoy it. You just forget to watch.
Well, no, I'm usually bartending and still fun employed, so that's hopefully going to change today. We'll see. I was homesick with a cold. I'm like, what else am I going to do? I knew these two big games were on, so I was like, let me pretend to be like the rest of the country and watch. I caught the end of the Eagles Commanders game.
Sure.
And gosh, it was so fun when I saw that little commander right at the goal line just hopping over. You know what I'm talking about? They were trying to push it in. I think that's actually a name. That's actually the term, which is so funny to me.
Who says it's the no fun league? I mean, come on, the rhyming alone.
But yeah, so the Eagles are trying to push it in.
Yes.
And this commander is just jumping over lines of bodies too early.
Yes.
Jumping the gun. And I'm like, this is so much fun. I didn't know this happens.
I love that you loved it. If that was going to continue, they would have eventually been awarded a touchdown. That was how bad it got. I wasn't even really, it got so comical. There were a lot of weird things that happened yesterday. Unfortunately, none of them went my way as far as the Super Bowl is concerned. But that thing got so comical that it almost, to me, it almost felt like they were playing mind games with them or something. It seemed, at one point, it seemed deliberate. How and why, I'm not clear. But it was very strange.
Yeah. You know, it's a tactic. It clearly didn't work, but they tried it, so good for them.
Yeah. See, here's the problem. And I'm not exactly giving you a hot take right here. But if it's a close game, Mahomes is going to win. I'm talking, of course, about the Bills-Chiefs game, which I was extremely upset about. Poor Buffalo. If it's a close game, Mahomes will win. Period. End of sentence. He's been doing it all year. He's been doing it his entire career. And you either blow them out, you give them a knockout punch on the first drive. Truly, you start with momentum and you continue. You can't give them an inch. And the Bills just they got their number in the regular season, but they just cannot beat them in the postseason. And I can't believe I'm disappointed for a Super Bowl without the Bills, because I don't know if you're aware, this is a very sad franchise, Joe, but in the early 90s, 4 years in a row, the Bills went to the Super Bowl. Guess how many times they won?
They won 0.
They won 0, yes.
I do know this fact. Yeah, Douglas and I were rooting for the Bills. Douglas kept saying repeatedly, I enjoy rooting for the underdog. And
another hot take.
Yeah, and guess what I kept saying the entire time? I don't know, I just appreciate excellence.
I knew it. Yeah.
I generally root for the team who is better.
It's so funny that you say that, because I was hopefully I wasn't depressing him like I did Frank, but I was going back and forth with our own Brad Morris. It's so weird that you know most of my friends at this point during the game. And speaking of excellence, when I first heard you say that phrase, at one point Brad's like, do I feel about the Chiefs the way the rest of America felt about the Bulls in the 90s? Like, were we that sick? Did the rest of the world get sick of them? Was the rest of the world sort of bored by them? And I'm like, the Bulls were a lot of things. Boring wasn't one of them. Thank you, Dennis Rodman. But I could be wrong. I was so in the Bulls bubble that I don't know what the rest of y'all were thinking. You might have looked at the Bulls the way that I look at the Chiefs, you know?
Sure. Yeah, it depends on where your loyalties lie.
Right. Oh, actually.
And I mean, Michael Jordan's talent, just undeniable. And I would say while Patrick Mahomes is freaking good, I don't know that I would put him at the level of Michael Jordan.
I mean, I'll tell you what, 3 Super Bowls in a row.
I mean, I've only watched 2 football games, so I'm an expert.
I feel that wasn't the last one that you watched? Oh, no, you watched 2 yesterday. I was going to say, I think you only, because, I mean, if you have the NFL ticket and you're a Chiefs fan, don't. Because I think almost every single nationally televised game featured the Chiefs this year. And it's just a waste of money. But, so there you go. There's your Super Bowl. The unbelievably annoying and just assholey Eagles, at least their fan base. And then the boring, the predictable the Patrick Mahomes led and Taylor Swift assisted Kansas City Chiefs. I know you were upset there wasn't a lot of Taylor shots last night. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you were trying to convince me to watch the game, not knowing I was already watching it.
You're
And
way
you're
ahead of
like,
me.
if for no other reason than to see Taylor. And I was like, actually, they've only shown her twice, and I wish they had showed her more. As far as the Super Bowl is concerned, I might watch if I'm free, but I don't really. I also realized as I was watching the game, and I saw at one point Patrick Mahomes sitting down, and I was like, oh yeah, when Allen is up quarterbacking,
Nice.
that means then it's the Chiefs' defense on the field. And offense and defense, it's essentially two different teams.
There are very, very few two-way players. It's almost like a switch hitter in baseball.
Yeah.
There's very few two-way players in football. There used to be a lot in the old salad days of the NFL. But yes, that is what we like to call Patrick's me time, where he can sit there, collect his thoughts, take a rest, take a breather, and let the D do their job.
Yeah. And man, I have to say, the NFL employs a lot of people. There's someone who brings him his coat. There's someone who brings him a water bottle. There's someone, checking on his body. Like, there's so many people tending to specifically the quarterback.
I have to say, you were really looking at football.
Oh, yeah.
I like this.
You know what else I've been doing? Sorry, I'm doing all the segues today.
So far they've been not horrible. I think the cold's helping you. It's like Michael
You know what
Jordan's
else
sick
I've
game.
been watching? And you know what else I sound like? A saghag.
Nice.
Here is our graphic of me as an old woman with a finger out. Because I'm telling you about the movies.
I go back and forth as to whether or not you're going to end up looking like Joanne or saghag when you get older.
I think a combination of
It'd
both.
It'd be nice, yeah.
So, for those who don't know, I am a member of SAG-AFTRA, which means I get screeners. I get to watch all of the nominated movies and TV shows for free, so I can vote for them. I have been watching quite a few movies so far. These are the ones I like. Anora was great. This is about a stripper who marries a Russian billionaire's son and the kind of crazy journey they go on. It was really great. Highly recommend.
Man, I wish I was a stripper that married a Russian billionaire's son.
Honestly, Bill, you could. There's time left. What else? Okay, I watched, what is it called? The Element, the Demi Moore.
Oh, yes.
Margaret Qualley film. It was good, and then it got progressively wilder. It was wild.
In a good
way? By
way?
the end, with the amount of prosthetics used and the amount of gore, and it became like a horror film by the end. And gosh, it's one of those movies where you're like, I don't know if it's good or it just left such an impact that I don't know what else to think of it. Demi Moore's performance was really great. So
like
I
Oscar
understand.
Work? Did you get the Oscar thing? Why she was not? Did you get why she was nominated? Was it that kind of good?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I do understand that. At the beginning of the film, though, you're kind of like, why? Because there's not a lot of dialogue in like the first 20 minutes of the film. It's just a lot of her going about her day. But that was pretty good. Watched The Brutalist.
Oh, that has an intermission.
It does. But it's only a minute intermission, which is weird.
I can't believe you did that. You don't have that kind of attention span.
Typically, I don't. But again, I'm fun employed. And also, Adrian Brody is like an incredible actor, so I was excited to see that. And his acting was great. Here's what's wild. Okay, the film is 3 hours and 20 minutes long. It is.
For audio people, I'm shooting my head right now.
It is too long. And when I was in London last year, we were by the, what do they call it? Not Barbizon. That's a modeling thing.
Yes, I remember them.
I don't know. It's apartments that was done in the brutalist style of architecture. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I love architecture. Maybe it's about the guy who built this, or
That's
so I
what I
thought.
thought. It is not?
Bill, this film is not about a true person. This film is like a collection of, it could be about this guy, and this is taken from this person and this. So Douglas had a great point. He was like, then why is it over 3 hours long? I
No.
understand if you're beholden to a true story and there's certain elements of this person's life that you need to get in there, but these aren't real people. This isn't a true story. So why couldn't you edit shit out?
Are you? I'm legit angry right now.
Yeah.
This pretentious
Yeah.
Oh my god. Now I'm definitely not going to see it. I was embarrassed that I didn't know who this person was.
Yeah.
And
Because it's not a real person.
also, that kind of makes sense in the sense that I'm like, who would want to see a movie about brutalist architecture? It's the
Yeah.
worst.
And there were definitely moments as I was watching where I was like, this could have been cut. This is unnecessary. This storyline is weird. And also, more gratuitous sex and nudity than in Honora, the film about a stripper who marries this Russian oligarch. It's just
What weird
wild
Russian
to me.
things. Really? Okay, now I'm
Yes.
back in it. I am blown. I almost feel like you're punking me right now. This isn't a real guy, and
No.
this is, I'm assuming, a seg for your article. If you want to get to that, because that just leads me to the next question: why Hungary to begin with? Then,
Yeah,
what are you doing? And
I know.
why save money on what you're about to talk about? Go ahead.
I know.
What the fuck?
The Wheel of Accents, kind of. So this is an article from Vanity Fair. The Brutalist's AI controversy explained. So the director, the creator of the film, 10-time Oscar nominee, became the subject of debate after its editor revealed generative AI was used in the making of the film. So yeah, it even says it in here. Corbett's film, which follows Brody's fictional architect, Laszlo Toth, as he emigrates to the U.S. from Hungary after World War II, has been on an impressive awards season run. It already took home 3 Golden Globes, including Best Drama. But we learned from this one editor's interview, it has used generative AI. So the editor, who is a native Hungarian speaker, said that he used an AI model with his own voice just to help the 2 lead actors with some of the film's trickier Hungarian dialect. Most of their Hungarian dialogue has a part of me talking in there, says the editor. But we were very careful about keeping their performances.
Oh, bullshit.
Now, why did they do this? Well, The Brutalist was independently financed with a budget of just under $10 million. They used this AI platform called Respeecher to finesse the dialogue because it sped up their already lengthy 18-month post-production process. Well, you got 3+ hours of film. That's going to take a while to edit.
This guy should never work in that town again. I am outraged.
He said you can do this in Pro Tools yourself, but we had so much dialogue in Hungarian that we really needed to speed up the process. Otherwise, we'd still be in post.
Needed. He didn't even have to be Hungarian.
Yeah.
You're creating a bigger budget and more crap for yourself.
You know how to make it faster, cheaper, without the use of AI? Cut it out.
Make him Irish and hire Colin Farrell.
Now, here's what's kind of sad. They did use a Hungarian tutor. They used a dialect coach and a person to help them. But they wanted it to sound as authentic as possible so Hungarian people watching would really think that it was real and they wouldn't. Why?
The key Hungarian-American demo that is absolutely required in order for it to be a box office hit. I am outraged. Okay, Joe, I have to give you credit. And you can tell I'm getting hives by even saying that. This is a fascinating talker, to use your favorite word, because this brings up so many goddamn questions. All right, now let's say Mark McGuire, right? Not in the hall, despite hitting at the time the record for most home runs in the season. Because why? Steroid allegations, which he's since admitted to. Is this would we call this a special effect, like a prosthetic that Nicole Kidman wore when she got her Oscar with the weird nose, and everyone's like, "Oh, you made yourself ugly," or is this cheating, acting wise?
Yeah, they then in this Vanity Fair article went on to talk about other forms of technological help. For example, in musicals. So that one film that's been nominated for so much, Emilia Perez.
Yeah.
So let me find the exact quote. It leads the Oscar noms with 13 nominations. It also used Respeecher, this AI platform.
Interesting.
In this case, it was to extend the vocal range of its lead actress, who made history on Thursday as the first openly trans woman ever nominated for an acting Oscar. Her vocals were reportedly blended with those of the French pop star Cameo, who co-wrote the film's songs and score. But listen, this actress has said, the vocals were challenging for me because I'm really not a singer. It's not my thing. At least she's not trying to pass it off as like, it was all me. Similarly, Angelina Jolie's vocals, she just played an opera singer.
Oh, sure.
Mixed with an actual opera singer's vocals in the film Maria.
Okay.
Also done in Bohemian Rhapsody, the Freddie Mercury. So it is done a lot in musicals.
So this is just the new normal.
But I don't know. I feel slightly differently about it being done in musicals because, for example, with Wicked, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, that's them singing because they are trained singers who are also acting. So in the category of a musical, I feel like the award should be given to the person who is doing their real vocals. But for speech and for speaking, I understand wanting the authenticity, but it's a fucking movie and it's not real and it's not about a real person.
It's interesting because it's basically it's been very, very much recently, it seems like within the last 20 to 30 years, there's been a big onus on doing the work. Another favorite phrase of yours, where like, Timothy Chalamet famously sang and also played the harmonica while playing the guitar for the Bob Dylan thing.
I also watched that one.
Oh, I'll be interested in your thoughts. But then when you go back to say West Side Story, Natalie Wood was completely dubbed, and no one cared. So it's not like 'twas always this,
So I think it goes back to the idea of like, what is art? It's storytelling. So what helps you tell the best story?
It's a good point.
And you're like, well, God, Natalie Wood tells a really good story, that angelic, virginal face, but her voice is shit. So let's bring in someone who can sing so that by putting it together, we tell the best story possible. So I think it's a little bit of that. But at least in that case, you're still using real people. Just using AI. As a union member, we fought so hard for AI.
Thank you.
Strictness.
Does this go against that?
I don't know. But this is the kind of slippery slope, if you will, that we're going to see more and more in film.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, so it seems to me now that if so many people that I think are nominated have done this, that it sort of negates it altogether, I guess.
I guess kind of.
What did you think of A Complete Unknown? I saw that as well.
Yeah, the Bob Dylan film. God, like 5 minutes in, I'm like, I can't understand a goddamn thing Timothy Chalamet is saying.
Then give him the Oscar, because welcome to Bob Dylan.
Cannot understand it. To the point where I was almost like tempted to turn on closed captioning. Douglas hates it. So
I don't like it either.
We don't often. But I was like, I don't know what he's saying. And I also was like, I don't think I like Timothy Chalamet. But then I was like, do I not like Timothy Chalamet or do I not like Bob Dylan? He was really playing this just like brooding young guy. Like the scene after this isn't a spoiler because it's his fucking life, but the scene after he slept with that one folk singer and he's just in bed with his guitar and just looking like a little prepubescent prick. I don't know. It really irked me.
Says the woman that maybe this is why, but I'm like, says the woman that's dated her fair share of gay men.
Guess maybe that's what it is.
You got triggered, to use another verbal crutch.
However, Bill, what was interesting about this one is the fact that Dylan was not like a huge drug user or drinker.
Very good point.
That wasn't what his story was about. So that was refreshing to see. But then I'm like, then you have no excuse for being such an asshat.
That was one of the questions that's brought up is like, are you given a mulligan? Are like, is a lot of great art come from great selfishness?
Oh,
And
100%.
then, so yeah, that's one of the many questions that it brings up there. Like, does he get out of jail free card because he was sort of like the Shakespeare of folk? You know, I don't know. These are the questions that you leave the theater with. I think that's interesting that you mentioned. I'll be interested to hear what Douglas thought. Because I definitely left the theater. If you recall, I did not spend Christmas with anybody because I got a little bit of the floozies and I didn't want to be a bad guy and give it to everybody. So
you decided to give it to a movie theater?
Well, it was empty. It was
okay.
Christmas. I went in there. I thought about that. I'm like, well, even if there are people in there, I will not sit near them. I had the entire theater to myself, which was equally sad. But I recall thinking as I left, I really enjoyed it. And I don't like Timothée Chalamet for kind of the same reasons that you don't. He's just such a rat boy, non-dude. I don't know. But I wondered, if you don't like Bob Dylan, would you like this movie? And I don't know if I would. I really enjoyed it, but
it's a lot of his music.
Yeah.
You know who I loved in that film, and it reminded me of how much I love this actor, is Ed Norton.
Yeah, Bob Seger.
You really believe him. Like,
absolutely killed it.
I didn't feel like I was watching Ed Norton. Like, I really like he just embodies every character he plays so well.
Well, per me, one of the many things I do that annoys you is I will always send you a YouTube of an actor on actors, or a YouTube video just on the process of how they went from A to B to make a role. Because as you know, I quietly love that stuff, and I don't have a FOMO of like wishing I was an actor because I don't know how to act. I can't do it. It's like saying I wish I was a computer programmer, but I'm very interested in it. And to that point, Ed Norton himself learned how to play the banjo. And that's why I think that your profession, while unbelievably frustrating, coupled with long periods of unemployment, the very idea to get a job where you learn how to box, to get a job where you learn how to play the guitar and a harmonica, while very difficult, what an amazing way to get paid, to learn how to have the specialized skill.
Of course.
And like a job where you are forced to get cut. I love the idea of a free personal trainer that would make me jacked. To get a role like Jason Bourne, and I learn how to kick people's asses, that to me is the best job in the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Unless, it's the other way and you're, what's his name? The actor who was in The Whale. And you'd have to gain all this weight and...
Nobody's putting a gun to your head, though. Remember, Gary Oldman, my favorite anecdote between him and Christian Bale. After Christian Bale had I think he got an Oscar for it, playing Dick Cheney, and gained all of that weight, he went up to Gary Oldman, also nominated, I believe, in the same year for Winston Churchill. And he asked him, were you given sort of a diet that would help you gain all that weight without it really affecting your health? Those kind of questions. And he's like, oh, mate, it's prosthetics. And, and Bale... I don't know if Bale's the brightest bulb in the lamp. He's like, yeah, it just occurred to me that like I'm not doing this anymore. Like, Gary Oldman's got all these accolades, and he just sat in a chair for a while they put all these layers and layers of pounds on him.
Yeah. Prosthetic use has, in the makeup industry, has gotten so good that you can believably sort of be transformed into this character.
Mm-hmm.
However, playing instruments and singing and like certain things, it's harder to fake.
Oh my God, yeah. And I just rewatched one of my all-time favorite movies. It might be a top 10er, Amadeus. And watching Tom Hulce, I think his name is, there's a scene where they turn him around backwards and he's playing on the harpsichord. And you're looking and you're like, oh, he's really doing this. And it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
But
because otherwise, right, the camera has to do all these cuts.
we live in a time now where it's becoming increasingly difficult to play a gay person if you are not gay. You certainly can't, which really hurts your career, play a person of perhaps vaguely Asian descent unless you don't have a little bit of Asian in you. At what point are Hollywood fatties going to start organizing when Colin Farrell gets to play the Penguin and sits in the chair for 50 hours to get the fat suit on? When is someone who actually looks like a penguin going to protest this? Perhaps he's the better actor.
So it is about representation, right? So if you have the opportunity to show like accurate representation, then a lot of people do want to take that, as they should. However, star power often trumps representation.
Joe, it's like I always say, it's not show art, it's show business. Did I just
Damn it, you're right again.
Did I just blow your mind? Wait.
Loan. Look what you did, Bill.
I'm magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember too, I hate to say it, it's kind of underrated. I saw it recently. I sort of liked it. But it was a colossal bomb, The Lone Ranger. And at the time, Johnny Depp played Tonto. And to circumnavigate this already growing trend of, if you're not that, you don't get to play this, that was already starting to happen. And Johnny Depp would say in interviews, oh, I'm like a quarter Cherokee or something like that. Well, we're going to get to I don't believe him, frankly. But we're going to have to get to the point where they're going to have to actually provide DNA tests to prove what they're saying is correct. You can't even just have a family tree. You got to go to 23andMe and say, all right, are you sure? It says here you're only 5% Navajo. I don't think you could, it's going to get to that point. It's going to be like drug testing. I
would love if we could get to the point where, there is someone who is Navajo, who is an actor, who is like, this story is perfect for me. Finally, I can be cast in something. But again, because everyone's concerned about the money, they aren't given that opportunity. And I wish as a society, we could all be like, I don't need to see the A-lister. I will go and support good art. But it's like you said, it's show business. And not many people want to take a gamble on that.
You know what the funny thing is? I'm old enough to remember also a bomb when Disney brought The Lone Ranger to the big screen for the first time. It was like 1980, 81. And they had an actual Native American playing Tonto. And on the TV show in the 50s, the actual Tonto was a Native American. But then in 2000, whatever, they got Johnny Depp. It's like they regressed when it came to the Native people.
Man. Yeah, you know what? I also want to shit in Johnny Depp's bed. After all of this, makes me sick to my stomach.
Douglas is a lucky man. That's why I know you're going to have a successful marriage, because he knows if he ever gets on your bad side, that bed, oh boy. And you guys don't even own a dog you can blame it on.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a really big rat running around. We do live in New York.
You just jinxed yourself. Honey, this shit is the size of a rat. Yeah, but it was like a really, really big rat. Anyway, I'm very mad at you, but that's neither here nor there.
So yeah, that was saghag, y'all.
That was a good one, man. My wheels were spinning last night when you sent that one. It's crazy. But you know what? To coin another phrase, of course, again, this is the new normal, verbal crutch, but also this is the world we live in, Joe.
I feel like I talked about everything I wanted to talk about.
I've never in my life seen you for a lack of words, so I don't think it's going to start now.
Yeah.
Wow. It is a first. Well, while you're thinking...
I'm also on cold medicine, so I don't know.
I can tell. I will say while your wheels are cranking, I don't have the dates in front of me, guys, but last week, a good... Some might say amazing Bowery Boy tours from Turtle Bay specifically. You can find it on Bowery Boys Walks on their site. I don't have the dates in front of me for February, but the weather was good. No one had frostbite. I believe it was actually like 35, which is summer these days, temperature-wise. But more to come. Just go to the Turtle Bay tours for the Bowery Boys Walks on that page to get my next walking tour of all things East Midtown.
Hey, your tidbit gave me an idea for a More You Joe.
Okay.
I just booked my walking tour in Nolens.
I
I am
forgot you were
going
going,
in
that's
about
right.
a month for Mardi Gras and a friend's birthday.
Oh, I know you
And
said you had everything rented out so that you're not going to be amongst the masses, right?
yeah, we got
yeah.
tickets at like a hotel to like stand around.
Smart.
We're going to a friend's house, which is like along a parade route. But I booked a walking tour for the Garden District because the architecture there's like so many different styles and it's beautiful and whatever. But if anyone has any recommendations for places I should eat, see, drink in New Orleans, let me know. And if I like it, I might go to it.
Well, that sounds like fun. I'll be logging in for Palm Springs next weekend, so that's good too.
Are you dog sitting?
No, this is really nice, and it was like I did what you do. After the third time, I said, "Fine, I'll do it." It's Joshua McCarroll's birthday, and as you know, my finances are not fun, like your fun employment. But after the third time saying he was going to use miles to get me to go over there to celebrate with him, Lauren, and a bunch of other people, after the third time, because I felt guilty, and I hate being a charity case, but after that, I'm like, fine. I mean, if he keeps asking me,
yeah,
I'm gonna do it. You know, I still feel terrible.
He must really want you there, so okay.
I guess that's the other thing too. Like, we never get to that story about one of my friends is poor. Like, I almost don't want to do that story anymore because like I'm this person. Like, I'm the one that brings everyone down because I'm on such a budget. But but that'll be fun. So I'll get to make you jealous with a beautiful background next Monday.
Oh boy, can't wait.
Me too.
All right, well, folks, tune in next week to see how tan Bill gets.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk to you later. Bye, y'all.
Oh, I'm sure glad that's over.
That's all for this episode of Mornin with Bill and Joanne.
I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts.
Shut up, Bill.
Subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you get podcasts.
Yeah, I wasn't listening either.
Very nice, Joanne. Touché.
For videos of this and other episodes, go to @MorninBillAndJoe on YouTube.
Bill, put the sword down.
Run, Joanne, run!
Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We would do it for you. Okay, that's a lie.
I never liked your show. Sorry, wasn't listening. See ya.